The year is 1947, a year that would soon be remembered for more than just the end of a devastating war. The world is still reeling from the aftermath of World War II. Cities lay in ruins, nations are rebuilding, and people are trying to piece their lives back together. In the heart of the New Mexico desert, the town of Roswell basks under a scorching summer sun. This small town, with its dusty streets and modest homes, seems far removed from the chaos that gripped the world just a few years prior. It's a quiet, unremarkable place, a town where everyone knows everyone, and life moves at a slower, more predictable pace. The townsfolk go about their daily lives. Children play in the streets, shopkeepers tend to their stores, and families gather for meals, sharing stories of their day. Little do they know that their small town is about to become the epicenter of one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. An event that will forever be etched in the annals of history as the Roswell incident. An event that would spark countless debates, theories, and stories for generations to come. The summer of 1947 in Roswell was unusually dry. The kind of dry that makes the air feel heavy and the ground crack underfoot. The scorching sun beat down on the arid landscape, baking the earth. Day after day, the relentless heat showed no signs of letting up. The air was thick with anticipation of rain that never seemed to come. Each day, the townsfolk would look to the sky, hoping for a break in the relentless heat, but the clouds remained stubbornly absent. The townsfolk, mostly ranchers and farmers, were accustomed to the harsh desert climate. They knew how to eke out a living from the unforgiving land, but this summer was testing even their resilience. But this summer felt different, as if something momentous was about to unfold under the vast open sky. There was a sense of unease, a feeling that the ordinary days of Roswell were about to be disrupted by something extraordinary. In the local diner, conversations buzzed with speculation. Some spoke of the unusual heat, while others whispered about strange lights seen in the night sky. Theories and rumors began to swirl, adding to the town's growing sense of anticipation. Radios crackled with news from around the world, but it was the local stories that captured the most attention. Reports of mysterious sightings and unexplained phenomena began to surface, fueling the imaginations of Roswell's residents. As the days wore on, the feeling that something significant was on the horizon grew stronger. The dry, dusty roads of Roswell seemed to lead to an uncertain future, one that would soon be marked by an event that would change the town forever. Under the starry night sky, the desert held its breath. The stage was set for an event that would leave an indelible mark on history, and Roswell was at the heart of it all. The Roswell incident would soon unfold, bringing with it questions that would remain unanswered for decades. The dry summer of 1947 was just the beginning of a story that would captivate the world. As dawn broke over the New Mexico desert, the town of Roswell stood on the brink of an extraordinary chapter in its history. The dry summer was about to give way to a storm of mystery and intrigue that would echo through the ages. William Mac Brazel, a foreman at the Foster Ranch, was going about his daily chores. He had been working on the ranch for years, tending to the livestock and maintaining the land. It was a routine he knew well, a life of hard work and dedication. The sun beat down on his back as he rode across the vast expanse of the ranch. The familiar landscape stretched out before him, a patchwork of fields and pastures dotted with cattle and the occasional windmill. The sky was a clear, brilliant blue with only a few wisps of clouds drifting lazily overhead. Little did he know that his life was about to change forever. As he rode, his mind wandered to the usual concerns of a rancher. The health of the herd, the state of the fences, the unpredictable weather. But today something different was in store for him. As he surveyed the property, something unusual caught his eye, a scattering of debris in a remote pasture. It was unlike anything he had ever seen on the ranch before. The pieces were scattered haphazardly, glinting in the sunlight. The debris field was extensive, stretching for hundreds of feet. It was as if something had exploded or crashed, leaving a trail of wreckage in its wake. Brazel's curiosity was piqued, and he decided to investigate further. Intrigued, Brazel cautiously approached the site. He dismounted his horse and walked slowly towards the debris, his eyes scanning the ground for any clues as to what might have happened. The closer he got, the more he realized that this was no ordinary wreckage. The debris was like nothing he had ever seen before. It was composed of materials that seemed almost otherworldly. There were pieces that looked like metal, but they were incredibly lightweight and strong. He picked up a fragment and examined it closely, marveling at its strange properties. It was composed of strange metallic-looking material that seemed both lightweight and incredibly strong. The metal was smooth and cool to the touch, with a sheen that caught the light in a way that was almost mesmerizing. It was unlike any metal he had ever encountered. There were pieces of what looked like foil that wouldn't tear. He tried to rip a piece, but it was surprisingly resilient. The material crinkled and folded, but it didn't break. It was as if it was made of some advanced, unknown substance. There were also strange symbols and markings on some of the debris. The symbols were unlike anything he had ever seen before, a series of intricate patterns and shapes that seemed to have no logical explanation. They were etched into the material with precision, adding to the mystery of the discovery. It was clearly not from any aircraft he recognized. Brazel had seen his fair share of planes and helicopters flying over the ranch, but this debris was different. It didn't match any known design or structure. It was as if it had come from another world. A sense of unease crept over Brazel. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something extraordinary, something that defied explanation. The more he examined the debris, the more questions he had. What was it? Where had it come from, and why was it here in the middle of his ranch? He knew he had stumbled upon something extraordinary. This was no ordinary find. It was a discovery that would change his life, and perhaps the world forever. As he stood there, surrounded by the strange, otherworldly debris, he couldn't help but wonder what the future held. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a mystery that would captivate the world for decades to come. News of Brazel's discovery spread through the small town of Roswell like wildfire. The strange debris, unlike anything anyone had ever seen before, sparked curiosity and fear. Rumors ran rampant. Some whispered of a crashed weather balloon. Others spoke in hushed tones of a secret government experiment gone wrong. The most sensational theory, however, came from a local rancher who claimed to have seen a flying disc streak across the sky just days before Brazel's discovery. The Roswell Daily Record, the local newspaper, picked up the story. Their sensational headline on July 8, 1947 sent shockwaves across the nation. RAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. The story quickly gained traction, spreading from local newspapers to national wire services. The world held its breath as the small town of Roswell, New Mexico, became the focal point of an extraordinary event. As the story of the flying disc gained momentum, the Roswell Army Airfield, a military installation near Roswell, took notice. The initial reports of a mysterious object crashing in the desert had already begun to stir curiosity and speculation among the local population. The military, always vigilant about potential threats, couldn't ignore the growing buzz. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer at RRAAF, was dispatched to investigate the crash site. Marcel was known for his meticulous nature and his ability to handle sensitive situations with a level-headed approach. His superiors trusted him to get to the bottom of this peculiar incident. Marcel, a seasoned military man, was skeptical of the flying disc theory. He had seen his fair share of strange occurrences during his service, and he knew that initial reports were often exaggerated or misinterpreted. He approached the investigation with a healthy dose of skepticism, ready to debunk any wild claims. He believed it to be a case of mistaken identity, perhaps a downed weather balloon. Weather balloons were commonly used for various military and scientific purposes, and it wasn't unusual for them to crash and be mistaken for something more extraordinary. Marcel was prepared to find the remnants of such a balloon and put the rumors to rest. However, upon arriving at the debris field, even Marcel was taken aback by what he saw. The scene before him was unlike any weather balloon crash he had ever encountered. The debris was scattered over a vast area, suggesting a violent impact or explosion. Marcel's initial skepticism began to waver as he took in the unusual sight. The debris was spread out over a large area. It was clear that whatever had crashed here had done so with significant force. Marcel began to methodically examine the pieces, noting their strange characteristics and trying to piece together what might have happened. It was unlike anything Marcel had ever encountered in his years of service. The materials were unfamiliar, and their properties defied explanation. Marcel's curiosity was piqued, and he knew that this investigation would be far more complex than he had initially anticipated. The material was lightweight yet incredibly strong. It was unlike any metal or alloy Marcel had ever seen. Despite its lightness, it seemed almost indestructible. Marcel tried to bend and break the pieces, but they remained intact, further deepening the mystery. It couldn't be cut or burned. Marcel and his team subjected the material to various tests, but it resisted all attempts to alter its form. This was no ordinary metal, and its origins were becoming increasingly enigmatic. The more they tried to understand it, the more questions arose. There were strange symbols and markings that defied identification. The symbols were unlike any known language or code, adding another layer of intrigue to the already puzzling situation. Marcel documented everything meticulously, knowing that these details could be crucial in understanding what had happened. Marcel carefully collected samples of the debris and ordered his men to load it onto trucks. He knew that this material needed to be analysed by experts who might be able to shed light on its origins. The operation was conducted with the utmost secrecy, as Marcel didn't want to fuel any more speculation or panic among the public. The debris was transported under tight security to RAAF for further analysis. The military base was equipped with the necessary facilities to conduct a thorough examination of the materials. Marcel hoped that the experts there would be able to provide some answers to the many questions that had arisen. The secrecy surrounding the operation only fueled the public's imagination. Rumours of UFOs and extraterrestrial visitors began to spread like wildfire. People were eager for answers, and the lack of information from the military only made them more determined to uncover the truth. The Roswell incident was quickly becoming a focal point of fascination and speculation, setting the stage for one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century.